We've got crystal clear water and real calm conditions. And to me, that says top water. Fishing in the Northeast is awesome, man. It's such a diverse fishery. You never really know what you're gonna get. You know, the buzzbait catches largemouth and smallmouth, which are prevalent in almost every single body of water we have up here. And everybody thinks of buzzbait fishing is early morning, late at night, dusk, dawn, you know. And it's great that time, for sure. But you can really extend your topwater bite all day long if you're willing to make a bunch of moves. You know, fortunately here in the Northeast, we have some real tall mountain ranges. So it always takes a couple hours for that sun to break over the top. So you're always gonna have one extremely shady section of the lake, and that'll last to about midday, and then it'll change position. But you can really extend your bite by just running around, fishing the boathouses, fishing these shade lines. And as the sun starts to move over that 3 o'clock position, because the mountain range is so high, you'll have the same exact thing happening on the other side of the lake. So realistically, I mean, topwater can be an all-day deal up here for sure. And oftentimes it's one of the best ways to catch them, especially the shallow fish. You know, running dock patterns is different than anything else. You know, the details are really what sets them apart. Paying attention to everything that's going on. Smallie up here just cruising. Gotta love that clear water when you catch smallies cruising. That top water, man, that buzzbait bite, everybody thinks largemouth fishing. Backs of bays, backs of coves, vegetation, heavy cover. It's not the deal. You catch a lot of smallmouth. He's just a little guy. I think it's really fun when you're catching 3 to 5 pounders doing the same deal. Thank you, buddy. You know, they use these docks, these shade lines as ambush points. It's a way to get some concealment from the sun, a way to conceal themselves, and it gives them a great opportunity to come out and ambush bait. You know, realistically, it's up to you as the angler to find out what they're sitting on the faces of the docks, on the poles, on the walkways, in the back corners of them, shady side. You know, so trial and error till you get some feedback from the fish. Once you start getting bit, pay attention to where that fish was set up, because that's definitely a pattern you can duplicate. A lot of the times up here, it's on the faces of these crib docks. That's a huge deal. You know, those crib docks have all kinds of nasty wood hanging off of them. The same thing with those boathouses. They'll have wooden slats off the front of them that are dilapidated and starting to fall apart just over years being in the water. And the ones, if you can find where the broken pieces of wood are, those little gaps that are left open, those fish will back right inside that shade line and just absolutely ambush prey. It's just a safe haven for them. And it's something you can key on all throughout the day. Smallmouth, Jamaica boa, man. It's, don't just think it's for largemouth, not at all. They catch a smallmouth equally well, especially in these clear, calm conditions. There'll be a bunch of these dudes, usually a lot bigger, up here cruising. Clear water, man, doesn't necessarily mean deep water all the time. Guys shy away from it. Guys shy away from throwing a buzzbait. There's another one. Nope, missed him. Guys shy away from throwing a buzzbait because the water's so clear. There's no grass in this particular area. Do I look for grass? Yeah, primarily, but it's not the only scenario I typically look for. A buzzbait, I can cover a lot more water than a lot of other baits, and in heavy cover, there is no substitute. You know, I love throwing Pop Max, I love throwing a Diamante, Giant Dog X, those walking baits, they're fantastic. I catch a ton of fish on them, but they're mostly over deep water, over rocks, you know, stuff that's not real snaggy. You know, you hit one of these pilings with a walking bait, or a treble hook bait, I should say, and 9 times out of 10, you're snagging up. When it comes time to start skipping up under boat docks, skipping up under boat houses, throwing it back in grass, lily pads, around wood, pilings, there's just no substitution for a buzzbait. There really isn't, and it's something I can make contact with. I don't get hung up, like right here. I can generate bites by simply making a cast and bumping that cover. And a lot of times that's how you get bit, you know? Cut corners is huge on docks. I'll run a dock, boom, make cover with that. A lot of times that'll draw a strike. I run down, I can fish the left side, underneath, and that corner, and cover a dock thoroughly and keep going down the shore. Such a cool bait, such a cool bite. Sick. You never know when it's gonna happen. It can scare you, shock you, just gotta be ready. And that bigger 7.5 rod. If you're falling asleep at the wheel and he hits, even the slightest bit of bend will move enough line to get that hook set and get positive penetration. When it comes to color selection, man, I really try and keep it simple. Black is a standard. It works everywhere I've ever been. Awesome in low light conditions, awesome on rainy days. Tidal water, it's the only thing I get bit on. But in this ultra clear water, I really like a green pumpkin, black blade. That really works for me, like this one right here. Super natural, has the noise, has a shadow, but it's not casting that giant flash that I think spooks them off a lot in this real clear water. It's just a supernatural presentation, you know, it has every color of a bluegill, you know, and a perch, their primary forage up in these parts of the woods. You know, it's got your greens, your blacks. So I mean, that's what I throw 90% of the time in these bodies of water. A white is, when I'm thinking fall, I'm throwing a white all the time, or I'm thinking offshore smallmouth. When everybody else is throwing walking baits, I can turn around and throw that sucker behind them. It's something they're not used to seeing offshore at all. And you get some giant smallmouth on buzzbaits in 50, 60 feet of water. It's a pretty cool deal. And if I have ultra clear water in the fall, the fish are super shallow, I'm throwing a ghosty kind of smoke color. That's it. It's that easy. You know, this particular buzzbait has a very unique head. It has a cup face and a keeled chin. That's gonna do a couple of different things for you. At the end of a long cast, that cup face is gonna have resistance, lifting that bait quicker and allowing you to maintain a slower retrieve speed, which is sometimes the deal. That keeled chin is going to help after deflections to right itself. A lot of the baits on the market after deflection will roll on their side and it'll take a couple extra seconds for it to right itself. And that really stalls out the bait, and the faster that bait can right itself and start swimming again after deflection, the more your odds are that you're going to get bit. You know, one of the hardest things about buzzbait fishing is not setting the hook, man. It's a super exciting thing. It's visual. You're amped up. You're anticipating a bite, and it's so hard not to just sit there and just rail back on him. A lot of times he'll blow on it, miss it, and if you pull it, it's gone. It's out of the strike zone. He ain't coming back for it. But if you reel through it and feel that weight, make that turn, and it's not a jerky turn, it's just lean into him real good, 90% of the time you'll hook that fish. And a big thing with buzzbait fishing too is casting angles. Everybody thinks you just throw it out randomly and wind it in. It's not. When I'm fishing rock, bluff faces like this, boat positioning is critical. Get as tight as you can safely. Use your rod to help steer it and keep it as tight to the cover as you can. All right, as I approach this dock, I'm gonna start to turn my boat out. So I'll have one parallel, one slightly at a 45. Right? You keep maintaining a simple, smooth rhythm in your trolling motor. Then I'll cut one past it. That way I can catch that corner. Get my boat set up right here at the end of this cast. Cast down the face of it. Making sure to try and hit those pilings on the way down. And by the time that buzzbait's here, now I'm making a cast down the side of it. Super efficient. It's the way to dock fish. It's a way to cover water efficiently and maximize your time in the strike zone. Guys, boat control is just as important as casting and casting angles. Get the hang of it and you're gonna watch your catch rate go through the roof. Oh my, got him. Big one. No, he's a good one though. Oh, he's a big one. Boom, baby. Who says buzzbaiting is just for morning, for cloudy days, for rainy days? It's not, man. You got to throw that sucker. It's such a cool bite. It can last all day. You really got to just give it an opportunity. Definitely run those shade lines, run those secondary points. And man, The results are there.